Good morning. Welcome to 365 Days of Richer Living, daily morning reading, meditation, and prayer time. Ray Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader at Columbia Center for Spiritual Living in Columbia, Maryland. Today is November 2nd. The infinite law of good brings me complete satisfaction. And the reference quote this morning comes from the third book of Proverbs, chapter 10. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 10. Then my barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. And the reading begins. There is a power operating through me, a presence inspiring, guiding, and sustaining me. Upon this power, I place my reliance. In this presence, I feel myself to be an outlet of immeasurable good, because I am in this divine presence, and because it is in me, and because the divine has all power. I know that my thought is made manifest in a perfect demonstration of health, of harmony, and of success. I know that the creative law is good, of good is infinite, and has all power to accomplish. I know its whole desire for me is freedom and joy. Therefore, I declare that freedom and joy are mine today. This freedom and joy spontaneously express in my experience, and there is nothing within me that can hinder this expression. Because this all good is mine, because it constitutes the only presence there is in the universe, I know that freedom and joy cannot be separated from me. Realizing that the kingdom of love is at hand today, I enter into this kingdom with a song of praise, a hymn of joy. Knowing that God is hid in everything, I reveal this divine presence to myself and to others in sympathy and love and kindness. I am conscious that there is an infinite wisdom directing me. Whatever I should know, I shall know. Whatever I should do, I shall do. Whatever belongs to me must come to me, because of the infinite intelligence which is mine and which is within me now. I am compelled to recognize my good, to see more, to understand, and accept and express more. I know the infinite law of good is always bringing complete satisfaction into my life. And so let's take that into our time of meditation. Breath. Focus my energy, my attention, my attention, my intention on the divine expression of the infinite. One reality, one absolute, unconditioned reality that is the substance and source of all creation. This one absolute reality, consciousness itself, God, Buddha, Allah, Great Spirit, the Great Mystery, no matter what we name it, it is unnameable. Because to name a thing is to define it, to limit it by its definition, either by attention, by intention, or simply by design, by definition. And I recognize that this one absolute reality, consciousness itself, is beyond the limitations of a name. It is the unformed, it is the formed. It is life itself, that substance, with all being born out of it, and so all necessarily containing it. This one magnificence is the ground of all being. I recognize that I am that informed. That the inexhaustible, unchangeable presence, the presence of God, the presence of peace, the presence of love, presence is my life. All that the infinite is my life. That there is no period of qualification. There is no qualifying in order to participate. I recognize, I celebrate all of life that is formed and unformed. And I celebrate equally, neither better than the other. And as I recognize the full scope of my physical being, the opportunity of spiritual awareness in this physical body, I receive that. I say yes to respond to that. I recognize that a simple bottle, a simple vessel of water can become the reminder today that God is all there is and that love is expressing everywhere. That if I simply direct my thought to remind me every time I take a sip of fluid about the truth of being, about the presence of God, then it becomes a tool for my upliftment. It becomes a mechanism for remembering. It becomes a way of practicing the presence. And just as there are many, many, many expressions, individualized expressions of the infinite itself, there are equally as many different tools of how to practice the presence on our journey to embodying and being the presence. And practicing the presence in no way restricts me from being the presence, but rather providing me with a safe landing, with a safe place of regrouping when I do sometimes miss my mark. I am grateful. Grateful to know that what I speak of myself, I speak of all creation. And so all creation is right now responding to a heart's desire within the wholeness to manifest, to express, to be the presence of healing. I celebrate the divine yes that has already made it so. I celebrate that there is nothing that the human eye is required to do to create the opening, to create the expression of divinity, to create absolute reality, to create an openness in anyone else that I so subtly separate myself from by othering. And so I take full ownership of my individualized use of consciousness. And I am transformed by the renewing of my mind, which allows me to use consciousness in a much greater way, to move consciousness by prayer in a much greater way, to move even beyond the concept of greater and lesser, to simply being a place where God shows up, to living wholeness, to living the unified operation of one so completely that truly people are healed simply by being in my presence, with no attribution to me as the human, but rather all glory to the divine love, to God itself, to Creator, that made it all possible and that is expressing as all of it. I celebrate, I give thanks, and I let go, knowing that it's already complete, truly believing in the core of my being that it is done. I let go of all of my human need to control. I let go of all of my fearful narratives. I let go of all the creative story writing of disasters. I let go of all of my fear-based what ifs. And I explore the what if, bringing forth the imagination of the infinite, imagining creative, loving, peace-filled responses to such spiritual questions, even when the questions are designed ultimately to persecute, to prosecute, to negate, to deny. I recognize it doesn't matter because God's got this. And God's got each of us. All is truly well. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.